What's going on, y'all? DeSwami here. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to show you guys how I make my chords from scratch. And I'm not going to do a real intro for this video because I think this one's a little more straightforward. I just felt like I should share my tips and tricks when I'm making my chords, how to make my chords sound different and not so basic. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to make this a little more of a beginner tutorial rather than a advanced production tutorial. So in that case, I'm going to stick in the key of C major, and just in case you don't know, C major is actually only the white keys. In fact, all of the white keys. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again. So those are the keys that we have on our scale, 7 keys to be exact. And when I'm making my chords, or actually in a lot of popular songs, they'll always start with the first chord in the scale, and since we're in C major, that would be the C major chord, which would be the C, and then 4 notes from that root note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 notes from the tonic, 1, 2, 3, and this would give us a C major chord. Usually songs would start on this chord, since it is the first chord in the scale. But when I'm making my chords, I don't like to always start on the first chord. I think that if you use that chord in the 3rd bar or the 4th bar, the progression feels way more natural and easy to listen to because there's more tension built throughout the progression, and instead ends on that chord, or the listener hears it in the middle. Because when the listener is listening to the song, they're listening for that root note or that root chord. So yeah, it's kind of confusing because I don't understand music theory at all. I've never learned it, but I just know what sounds good and what doesn't. So based on that knowledge, we're actually going to start on the 4th chord of the song. Usually I'll start with a major chord if I'm in a major scale. And to make a major chord, or the keys that can make a major chord in a scale would be the first key, which would be C, since this is the first note in the scale, or the 4th note in the scale, which would be the F, C, counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, this would be the 4th note, and then the 5th note. These 3 notes can make the only major chords in this scale here. So I'm gonna start with the 4th note, which would be this F. I'll make a chord out of it. A major chord again is the same pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 from here, 1, 2, 3. So remember 3 spaces in the middle, and then 2 spaces in the middle to make the major chord. So now we have an F major chord. And then next, usually you would want to go to a minor chord. From here, the 2nd bar would usually be a minor chord because I'm going to end the 3rd bar, or I'm going to have the root chord, which would be the C major, in the 3rd bar. So let's make that again. So starting from C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again 1, 2, 3. So now you have the C major and the F major here. So in between these 2 chords, I'm going to put 2 minor chords to build more tension and make the listener feel more emotion. So with that, I'm going to make the A minor chord here, which would be the, I'm actually unsure. So this is the 7th, 6, or 7th, 6. So this would be the 6th chord in the scale. So I'm going to make it in this octave because if I were to make it up here, it'd be too high. So a minor chord is the opposite of this pattern. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 2 spaces in the middle, like how it is here, and then we're going to do 4 spaces in the middle. I mean 3 spaces in the middle, 4 notes apart. So now we have the A minor chord here, the C major, and the F major. Like I said before, I'm going to put another minor chord here, which would be, or actually, for the sake of this video, I think I'm only going to have 1 minor chord, and I'm going to just put another major chord here. And if you remember before, this is the 4th major chord, or the 4th chord in our scale. This is the 1st chord, so we didn't use the 5th chord, and the 5th chord is actually in the major scale, or can make a major chord. So I'll make it in this octave here. It's gonna go the same pattern as this one right here, with 3 spaces in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. So 3 spaces, 2 spaces, and this is what we have so far. So yeah, super basic. You would never want to stop making your chords here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is move these notes around without changing the chords or adding any chords. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna throw this down an octave so that these notes are touching here. And what this does is basically create lead voicing. Once you have lead voicing in your chords, it would be way easier for the listener to anticipate what's going to happen next. Because when a pianist is playing the piano, they're never going to play the 2 same notes in 2 different octaves. See how this C's up here and this C's down here? So you could just move that down so that it's actually going to be able to lead into the next chord. So this chord here and this chord here are actually the same, or this note. So I'm actually going to move this up, and now this is what we get. But remember, these are still playing the same chords, the F major and the A minor. So it's still the same chord, but it's now it's way more able to anticipate what'll happen. And for the sake of this, I forgot to do this before I started moving the chords around, but I think it would be a good idea to move the root notes down an octave so we remember which chord it was originally. So remember, this was an F, so we're going to take this F note and bring it down 1 octave. Actually, we'll even bring it down 2 octaves. Alright, so this one is an A minor chord, so we're going to take the A and we're going to bring it down 1 octave. And this one's a C, so we're going to bring this down 1 octave. Maybe even another octave. And then we're going to take the root note of this one, which is the G, and bring this down an octave. Maybe even another octave. Actually, that'll be too low. So right now, like I said before, we're going to continue that process of moving the notes around so that they lead up, or if they're being played in another chord, that they end up matching up. So this one looks like it's really low. So I'm going to move this up an octave, and as you can see here, it's actually being played here. So now let's hear what it sounds like. So way more easy to listen to than what we had before. And it's still the same basic chords that we had, but now it sounds way more better because of this lead voicing. It's way more easy to anticipate what'll happen and the next chord that'll be. But if you wanted to spice up your chords even more, what you could do is find the middle note of each chord, which would be the tonic. So remember how we were doing a pattern where we were going, if this is the major chord, we were going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. Well, the chord or the note 4 spots away from the root note, 1, 2, 3, 4. This note right here can be duplicated down an octave to this position right here, while still retaining the same position up here. And now we get a more fuller chord without actually changing the chord. So let's just do the same for this chord as well. So this chord was the G A minor. So from here it was we actually threw it down an octave already. So what we could do is actually duplicate this one down here. Even though I already duplicated the root note down here, we can have it up here as well. And now let's see what that sounds like. Sounds way more full. Okay, now let's do the same for here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take this note and bring it down an octave. And this one might not work because I don't see any lead voicing into this chord, but let's just see what it sounds like anyways. I think it could definitely work. So now let's take another note from here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one looks like it's this one looks like it could be duplicated down. So now basically what I'm doing is using chords or notes that are already in the chord and duplicating them down or up an octave to make your chord sound more full without actually changing the chords. Because if you see here, right in this area, all of these chords are still the same chords. I didn't change it because all I did was just move and add notes up or down the octave. So now your chords sound way more emotional and way less predictable than what would normally happen in a chord progression. But yeah, this is basically my thought process when I'm making my chords. If I want to do like a basic chord progression, but I still want like really emotional chords, because through this you can still get a lot done if you just use this chord progression, because you'll have more variety within your melodies and you'll hear new ideas that you wouldn't hear if you're using a basic chord progression. So yeah, I hope this video helped. Let me know if you need more videos on like chord structures and melodies. I by no means know anything about music theory, but I know what sounds good, and I think that's what matters. So thanks for watching. I hope y'all have a really great day. Make sure to leave a like and comment, and see you guys later.